Hi everyone. Hello. Hi. Well, today is Wednesday. Obviously, you know it's time for Let's Talk Content. And this is Neeti, and I run this beautiful small boutique podcast production company, which is Odd Story, and that's exactly where you are. Last week, we couldn't do it. Actually, I was traveling from my hometown to Bombay, and I just overestimated. I realized that I'll be home for this series, but then I realized that normally it takes me around 45 minutes to an hour to reach. That day took me more than 3 hours, which was weird and new for me also. Being part of Mumbai, it was like first time ever that had happened to me. So that's why we had to cancel. But today we have a very, very special guest, and I can see her already. Let me just add her to this live. So I've already sent her the invitation. For all those people who are wondering who do Neeti, like who's coming this time. She's an OG podcaster. And here she is. Hi,
Hi, Lindsay. How are
I'm
you?
good. How are you?
I'm doing well. You tell me.
Can you see me, hear me properly?
Yes, I'm able to see you. I hope you're also able to see me and hear me properly.
There's a little lag. That's why I asked. So I want to check whether it was my internet or yours. But that's fine. I mean, your video is a
Okay.
bit unclear. That was the reason.
Okay.
Okay. How
Okay.
are you,
Is it clear
Taleha?
now?
No, it's not like
Yeah.
that great. I cannot see you very clearly, so I'm not sure whether it's my internet or yours. People, can you please suggest us
Okay.
who needs to work on their internet in this case? But meanwhile, do you wanna
Let me-
Taleha, do you wanna rejoin once, or do you think this is fine?
Sure, sure. I can rejoin. No.
Yeah, why don't you rejoin once? Because I realize that even your voice, there's a lag. Okay, so you guys already know that we're going to have RJ Taleha on this show. I've been knowing her since more than a year now. Like when I started Odd Story, she was one of the first professional connects of mine. Let me just send her an invite again. Okay, I think she's off Instagram. Let her come back and then we'll just send her the invite. So she was one of my first ever professional connect, and since then, she's always been super, super sweet to me. She's always replied to my content, reels, whatever I make. She always used to come back saying, "Hey, really like the way you put yourself out there. The content is brilliant." And coming that from your community, initially, it meant a lot to me. It actually gave me that standing that, okay, I'm in the right direction. Let me just see if we can find Taleha again. Okay, let me invite her. So yeah, that's RJ Taleha for you guys. And if you guys don't know her, let me give you a brief about who she is. Despite the fact that she's a full-time software engineer, here comes Taleha. Despite the fact that she's a full-time software engineer, she is an RJ with All India Radio. She is an OG podcaster. She's a YouTuber, TEDx speaker. Not only that, she writes blogs, and most importantly, she also hosts these food walks. And most importantly, she is she's one of the biggest ever competition, podcasting competition in India. She is India's first voice of anchor, which was by Spotify. Congratulations once again, though I did congratulate you at that time also, but once again, congratulations. You're frozen.
Thank
One
you so
second.
much,
Can you hear
Lindsay.
me? Yes. Taleha, how do
Yeah,
you
I'm able to
feel?
hear
What
you.
was
Am
that
I audible?
feeling? Yeah, yeah, you are. You are. There's a lag, but it's okay. Acha, Taleha, how
Uh,
did you feel? What was that feeling when you won
yeah.
that competition?
So it was
Okay.
it was honestly, I did not actually that I be able to win it and all. But when I won it, I was not able to sleep for the next 2 days. I was super excited, and I also treated all of my friends. And I was just, like hopping here and there like a small kid. So I was full of excitement, full of joy, and all of that. And after almost 2 days of celebration, I sat down and started planning future content for my podcast.
Yeah, I remember. I was also one of those lucky people who were offered the treat. And not only that, I remember that you made a reel which had that background music, Aaj Main Upar Aasman Niche. So I can understand when you say that you were
Yeah.
hopping all around.
Yes.
But Taleha, there's
Yeah.
another interesting thing which you mentioned, and I just loved it. That your motto is that you want to make India as the podcasting capital of the world. Wow, such a deep thought. How?
Yes. Yeah. So actually, I'm very, very passionate about podcasting. And whoever I meet or talk to, if they are not into podcasting, I always talk to them about podcasting and say that please start a podcast, or I recommend podcasts, that listen to this podcast and all. And I believe that, just like when we talk about YouTube, so YouTube back in 2015-16, it is not the same YouTube what we experience today, right? And I'm pretty sure that's because we have so much of diverse talent, because of which YouTube grew so huge. And I'm pretty sure that that can also happen when it comes to podcasting. It's just that we are not, probably that much active as we are on the other platforms.
That is so
So,
true.
and I'm sure that the day when everyone, whoever has potential in creating podcasts, they come forward, I'm pretty sure we are going to conquer the world of podcasts, just like we are doing in YouTube.
This brings me to the fact that you've been in podcasting since 2012. It's more than 10 years. Like, wow, that is so, so, so huge.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, back in 2012, I don't think so. A lot of people knew about podcasting, especially in India. I'm sure not, there must have been handful people who would be listening to podcasts. How did you figure out about podcasting at that point of time? And why did you decide that you want to start your own podcast?
So I always wanted to be on the other side of the radio. And but since I was a full-time software engineer, that was not possible because I was nowhere related to the media industry. And the only thing left was that I just start
Right,
my online show. And that time I heard few DJs and RJ shows on
right.
SoundCloud. And I did not even know it is called podcasting, but I thought that भाड़ में जाए दुनिया के सारे radio channels. I'll start my own talk show and let's see how it becomes. कुछ नहीं होगा तो at least auditions
That is
की ही
so true.
practice हो जाएगी. And with that intent, yeah, and with that intent, I just started my podcast, and it was called the TNK Talk Show. TNK is like the acronym for my name. So I started it with people from my office, and I used to, take interviews and talk about things apart from office, all the talented things they are into. Like somebody is good at guitar, somebody is good in arts and crafts, somebody is good at poetry, somebody was even
Wow.
blogging at that time. And we did not know all of this because हर रोज तो हम सबको as a developer or a tester or accountant, HR, we look everyone with that aura only. And it was because of this that other people started recommending not only that podcast, but I started getting a lot of requests from
Nice.
people that I want to come on your podcast. And some people even wrote back to me that they had also thought, they gave this idea that I leave my profession for some time and pursue my passion full time. Let's see how it goes. So all of those mails back in the day, they were so encouraging for me, and it's because of podcasting only. Whatever I am today, it's because of that one step which I took in back in 2012, that I want to be on the other
That
side of
must
the
have
mic.
been such a huge moment, and I'm sure you must have not imagined at that time like how much you would have grown in this industry. But now that you're an OG, we all know the OG podcaster of this industry.
No, no, I would say I'm an OG. I would say I'm just the learner of the game, but and I
That is
always
so
love to learn from everyone around me. So I never miss out on any of the lives or podcasts. Even I never miss out on the live
Thank
which
you.
you do every week, Neeti, because it helps me a lot, in understanding
Yeah,
so
yeah.
many things which different creators have. So I won't say ever that I'm the expert, but I love to
I
learn
think
and
that's the
unlearn and
best
keep
way to
applying
go
things.
forward. So, Taleha, before I ask you another question related to your brilliant, brilliant graph, you have to tell me what is the meaning of this name, Taleha of yours. It's such a beautiful name.
Okay. Okay, so it has two meanings. One is investigator
Both
and
goes very
second
well
is
with you.
sunshine.
You are an investigator because when you have to have a podcast, you need to do a lot of research, and you are as bright and beautiful as sunshine, undoubtedly.
Yeah. That means so much,
Wow,
Neeti, and I get
thank
the
you.
same
This
vibes
is
from
definitely
you.
a mutual admiration club. That's how I say that we both love each other's work. Coming back to podcasting, so of course, apart from your
Yeah.
full-time job, you were a YouTuber, you wrote blogs, you were an RJ with All India Radio, you have your podcast, you've been doing so many things. How do you don multiple hats? How do you do it with your full-time job? Now that's my question. How do you manage everything?
So, so the if I have to put this in one line, it has to be because I always live with
Nice.
the fact कि जिंदगी ना मिलेगी दोबारा. तो तो बस जितना मतलब I don't want to die with regrets or live with regrets because right now I think that oh काश मैंने बचपन में ये कर लिया होता
Right.
या मैंने अपने 20s में ये कर लिया होता. So I'm already living with some pile of regrets, but right now what I do, if I have an idea with me, I don't think twice. I just go ahead and execute it, and I don't think that कौन क्या सोचेगा, successful होगा नहीं होगा, and all of that because I just think one thing only that जिंदगी ना मिलेगी दोबारा.
That is
तो
so
जो करना है इसी लाइफ में करना है. So there are days, yeah, there are days, when we have more than 12, 13, 14, 15 hour shift because of back-to-back releases at work. But and I am quite tired after that. But when I go to sleep, I get haunting dreams of all of my passions, coming with those masks and avatars and coming in my dream and saying that आज तुमने अपने passion पे काम नहीं किया तो कल से किसी को मत कहना ही तुम्हारा passion है. And then immediately that triggers me and I just think that no, चाहे मैं रोज आधा घंटा या एक घंटा बिताऊं, but I have to work on my passion, even if it means that I have to, make it as a part of my break from work. So usually when I take break from work, I like take 2, 3 breaks in a day. So out of that, one of course is lunch, and the other two are working on some or the other work from my passion side. So
wow. You've
that is
just
how I actually manage.
skyrocketed motivation for everyone who's here right now. You didn't. I mean, that's very difficult for anybody to do after 13 hours or 14 hour shift. I'm sure, like most of I know, like I've been there, done that. You're like literally dead and you don't want to do anything. You
Yeah.
only want to be in front of Netflix to sometimes chill and then sleep and start your day again. And also during the breaks, I'm sure it's more like, you relax yourself. It's beautiful when you make your passion the way to relax. That's what you've done, and not a lot of people can do it. But there's
Yeah.
a lot of content creators can learn from you. Those who think like, "Hey, I am my job. I want to become a content creator, but I don't know where to begin." Use your workplace. There you can begin. Actually, so you have to tell me that
Right.
you. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
I'm able to see
So
you.
you write blogs, you
Yeah.
write podcasting scripts, you have co-authored a book with 22 authors, which is Power of Why, which is again huge, brilliant, and which means like you've
Yeah.
understood, figured out the world of writing. Then you've also made videos, and which means you understand video format also, and of course audio. So you are brilliant at which according to you is the most impactful format of all, I know the answer from your side, but just want to know, be unbiased and tell me which one you think is the most impactful right now in India. And I already know which is your favorite movie.
So, in my opinion, it is actually podcast or audio form. And I can give you a practical example also. So, most of the time when I'm working, so I don't get
Yeah,
much time to, Netflix and chill. So, what I do is to, make my visualization better and to script better for podcast, I put a movie on the side, whichever I want
got
to,
it.
and I listen to it like a podcast. And especially, I have noticed this on Netflix that most of the movies over there, they can
That is
be
so
great
true.
audio dramas also. And of course, I do listen to, yeah, and of course, I do listen to audio drama. But I tell you something, whether it is, textual in the form of a blog, whether it is a picture like we had earlier on Instagram, or it is a video, in all of these formats, a person is taking away from the audience the power of visualization because they can see, right? But when you think about audio, you are giving the audience the power of visualization. And just imagine, जो भी आपका वो कंटेंट कंज्यूम करेंगे उनके डिफरेंट स्टाइल एंड वेरिएशंस होंगे उस विजुअलाइजेशन पे एंड दैट इज सो ब्यूटीफुल. So whenever I create my podcast, I just imagine that I am in a theater and I am the performing artist, and everyone out there is going to witness this show. And I just do it the same way that so that they can visualize things. So I think that power cannot be there in any other media. I know that this could be a biased answer because I really love the power of audio, but this I think is very apt because no other media gives
While
you
I would
the
say,
power of
unfortunately,
visualization.
in India, videos work better right now if we take the masses' opinion. But I do
Yeah,
agree with you that there's no other medium gives you the
yeah,
power to imagine or to visualize or to draw your own picture on a canvas, like literally an empty canvas, while only listening to things. This is the beauty of audio industry. Very few people understand that here in India, but I'm happy that podcasting or audiobooks or audio industry overall is growing. Now, coming back to one of your biggest
right.
achievement, and I'm so proud of you that you became India's first voice of anchor by Spotify. I already asked you how did you celebrate, but I need to understand how did that happen. Spill the tea. How did that happen to you?
Okay, so last year, Spotify and Anchor.fm, they came up with
I
an
saw
ad
that
which I
too.
saw on
Yeah,
Instagram
I
ads
saw that
only
too.
about the voice of Anchor. Yeah, and I thought to casually apply, and my intent was that at least I would learn something because there would be a lot of people who would be joining. And it started with that intent only, purely learning. And I learned so much, not only from the mentors, but also from everyone who was there in the cohort because there were people who were quite experienced and established influencers. There were people who were totally fresh, and there were people who did not know anything about podcasting. But honestly, every week we used to get a challenge, and it was quite tough, at least for me to, fit in that challenge with my theme. But I always used to look forward and I was always curious to know that किसने कैसे वो challenge figure out किया. And I used to make notes कि अच्छा इस चीज को ऐसे उन्होंने किया, what a nice way of putting out things. And that was such a brilliant learning curve. It was started in November. It went on till April. So it was quite a long time, but I had the best time because of course I love podcasting and I had a tribe with whom I vibe because of podcasting, and I learned so much. So
I
it
remember
was a brilliant
we had a
experience for me.
conversation at that time when I told you like who can beat you? I mean you the OG,
Yeah.
you've been doing it since so long. I remember you told me no Neeti, there are big influencers who are trying to become podcast hosts and they also
Yeah.
and I asked you and I heard you made drama series. Literally you made drama series in your recording, I mean
Yeah.
in your podcast. I see being the part of that cohort, and it was so brilliant. That's why, like, I remember I told you, like, I don't think so I can see anyone else winning this competition apart from you because you were so good. I loved your scripts, they were amazing. And I mean, you are a born storyteller. That's what I could make out of that.
Thank you so much, Neeti. And one thing I must say that, that day when I talked to you, that was such a great decision for me because those words of yours encouraged me so much that every day I
Oh,
used to think, nahi, Neeti believes in me, so I
no, but
have
you
to keep
carried
on
me.
giving
It
my
was like
best and
right
best.
there. I could hear it in your episodes that it was so, so, so good. Okay, now because we're talking about podcasting and you've been there for like 12 years, for all the aspiring podcast hosts, give us 5 tips and think that you're in a reel. You're creating your own reel and give me 5 tips in that reel format of yours.
Okay. So the number one tip would be that please don't give any excuses. Usually we give excuses that उसके पास तो team है, उसके पास तो money है, उसके पास अच्छा camera है, mic है, setup है, all of that. But trust me, it's not about the setup, it's not about the team. Even if you have that, you would be the captain and leading it, right? So first become that person and just start with whatever you have. Second thing, don't just, have your idea in a khayali pulao format. Just bring it forward because the more you will think, the more it will keep on marinating and that never will become a reality. So always have a plan to action and just start doing it. Don't think about anything else. थर्ड थिंग विच अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल से टू मी कि यार लेकिन कौन सुनेगा इतने सारे ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग क्रिएटर्स हैं be it YouTube or be it podcast, but trust me, almost on a daily basis, we see new creators. ठीक है, we can say that podcast is quite new, but YouTube is quite saturated, if I have to say, almost in all genres, but still, we see new creators coming up every day, and we also see successful creators who had just started a few years back, right? So don't think about anything else, just start it, and don't think that who will listen to you or who will, consume your content. And also, the most important thing is don't compare yourself with anyone. I always do that. I get a lot of FOMO and I'm very guilty about it. But from my own thing, I would say that we all, like if
Yeah.
somebody is doing XYZ thing, they may be good at it, you're admiring it. But the thing is that their situation, your situation could be different. Like, for example, when I see your content, Neeti, I feel like, oh my God, she's putting out so much content every day, but I'm not able to do it. But then at the
Yeah.
end of the day, I
Yeah.
realize because I'm also doing a full-time job, my situation is different from yours. So these are the things. And last but not the least, it's good to celebrate and it's good to always encourage yourself, but don't overdo it. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि आप सोचो कि आप ही बेस्ट और कोई और बेस्ट नहीं है. Because let me tell you, even if tomorrow you become the
Yeah.
OG creator, whoever is going to be new in the game, they are going to bring new things. So always unlearn and learn from others. And I think this would be the best way of networking, that always try to reach out to people to learn from them. So I
No,
think these would be my 5 tips. थोड़ा
bang
डिटेल में
on.
हो गया,
But
रील
I
में
mean,
तो
whenever
नहीं,
I
but
put someone on the
these are my
spot,
tips.
like sometimes, they're confused. I've had creators like, how many have I done? 3? Okay, let me see how many I have to see. You were like bang on, right from the start to the end. And every tip of yours makes so much sense. Taleha, I already know the answer of my next question, but I'll still ask because this is something which I ask all the creators is what do you think about India's creator economy? Specifically, if we consider audio industry there, do you think it will become the biggest ever creation industry in the coming years, especially in India?
So, for sure it will. Even if I know that I keep on hearing this thing, which I now feel is quite cliche, that podcasting is still in the very nascent stage in India. But when I look back, even if we say 2 years back when the pandemic hit, and most of the people started, experimenting with content, some became YouTubers, some started podcasting. If we see from 2020 till today, we see so much of difference. Like these
Yeah,
days, I see so many acquisitions and mergers, like Kuku FM did, Pocket FM did, which are purely into audio. Then Spotify, Anchor.fm, they keep on coming with different
yeah,
creator programs, especially with vernacular creators also. So they know the potential. And I see so many other mergers also happening outside India. But it's just that the future definitely would depend on the fact that how consistently and how good quality content we keep churning. And second thing, of course, I do visualize that at least in the next 2, 3 years for sure, India's podcasting industry will definitely be just like what we see YouTube today for sure. And as you know, like now more and more people are getting into startups, starting their own ventures, etc. We all are getting so much busy that at the end of the day, most
yeah.
of us don't want to have a screen time, yet we want to get entertained or edutained. And at that time, audio content is one which you can consume without, the
Correct.
guilty of having more screen time. So it is easily consumable. So I think definitely because of the increased amount of ventures, startups, and more people getting into this space, definitely it's going to rise high for sure. And we would see more and more acquisition. And as I can't predict, although, but I feel that the first monetization thing could come from Anchor.fm, Spotify. And once one player is going to start, that other players will also start,
I
bringing in
totally
things
agree
about
with you when you
monetization
say
and
like
everything.
this is growing because my only logic is like, why would you see such big content creators, be it YouTubers or Instagrammers, shifting to podcasting? Why would they do that? They wouldn't do that unless they don't see the
Right,
benefit in it. And monetization, yes, direct monetization is taking some time, which is okay. But there are so many indirect ways of monetizing your podcast which people just ignore. You just have to see what you want to do, what you want to create out of your
right,
podcast. Once you've figured that objective out, there are multiple ways to reach that particular objective. Taleha, I must say, it's been great here.
right.
People, if you have any questions for Taleha, now is the time. Let me tell you, she is just the best when it comes to podcasting. So please ask your questions. Meanwhile, I have a question for you. Which is your current favorite podcast and also your current favorite podcast host? Indian and international. Don't only give me international names.
Okay. So actually, I listen to so many, but right now, my most favorite
Yeah,
is
she does.
the one by Sacha because I've been listening to her since Voice of Anchor time. So I have like seen her video content, of course, but her audio content is so good. The way she speaks, and it just makes you feel that you're just with her, and she's telling you the whole narrative, like you're talking to each other. So she's one of my current favorite hosts. I also like Simi Said What because that podcast really requires a lot of courage to bring on such a subject and enlighten people with a lot of things that they do not know and in such a edutaining way. So that was really nice, really
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, it
And I
is
wish
coming
that
back,
someday
by
we
the
can
way.
hear it again.
Just letting you know.
Um, oh my God, I'm so happy. Thank you for this. And internationally, I like other podcasts or one more Indian podcast I like. It is by Microsoft and
Yes,
it is in
yes.
the voice of Harsha Bhogle. It is Paradigm Shift. So that podcast is so good. Anyone who wants to know the benefits of AI and how AI can help India's growth, they should listen to that podcast and trust me. अभी मैं जैसे बता रही हूँ, it sounds like अरे क्या AI इतना boring heavy term, but the way they break everything with a scenario from India, it is just out of
Yeah.
this world. So you must listen to it. So these are
Consult me
top
as our such
three
a
of
voice
my
is not
favorite
clear. Okay,
podcasts.
we'll put the name of the podcast once we put this live out. But just to remind you all, one is with Sacha. Sacha, when I heard her podcast, I totally agree. Her audio content is totally different from her videos. Her video is like funny, it is cute.
Yeah.
her audio content actually brings out her intellect and how empathetic she is as a person. And that is the power of audio. I agree. Simi said what? Yes, he
Right.
gives brilliant content. No one can pull that off better than Simi. Like nobody can talk about sex the way she can. Then of course, Harsha Bogle's podcast, you mentioned the
Yeah.
paradigm shift. I've heard that also. So that man and his voice has some power
Yeah.
on you. You like literally spellbound, and then when you listen to that podcast, I
Yeah.
totally agree it is for you. Cool. So I must say that it was lovely, lovely, lovely having you here on Let's Talk Content. Since the day we decided that you wanted to do this series, you were there as a name on the list. But what happened was because I was traveling and my team was coordinating, so this got delayed. But I'm finally so happy that we did it. The day you told me that you won
I'm
Voice of
also so
Anchor was the
happy.
day I decided she is coming. Because she needs to tell the world how do you do it with multiple things.
Thank you so much, Niti. It's such an honor. And seriously, I must say that I need people like you around me. And because of people like you who encourage
How
me and
sweet.
motivate me,
How
I
are
am
you
what
so
I am
sweet?
today.
I'm going to meet you in person super soon now. Okay, thank you so much, people,
Pakka,
for
pakka.
tuning in again this Wednesday. I will see you next Wednesday. Meanwhile, do follow RJ Taleha, and her tips on podcasting are on point, even on her page. If you've loved what she just said in this live, it was just this much, it was just a teaser. And if you want to figure out more, you need to visit her on her page and you can follow her. And she has this beautiful community of people who love podcasting. And I'm one of them. Happily. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you so much, Niti.